This is the Loire, the one most of us know, the Loire of the chateaux, the bridges, the wheat fields, vineyards, and pastures. Then why is the Loire called Europe's last wild river? The Loire begins 100 miles from the Mediterranean and flows 600 miles west to the Atlantic. The lower Loire passes quietly through Nevers, Orléans, Tours, Angers, Nantes. But the upper Loire is like no other river in Europe. It has winding gorges, cool, clear, rushing waters, a magnificent array of wildlife, and a tributary with the longest salmon run in the world. But sometimes there are floods. And after the flood in 1980, a public agency called EPALA tried to dam the upper Loire. Less destructive, less expensive alternatives were not explored. At first it seemed EPALA would be allowed to build a series of dams without attempting to evaluate the environment they would be destroying in the process. They didn't count on Christine Jean, a young mother of two who was able to lead a fight against the authorities and defeat their plan to domesticate the upper Loire. An agronomist with a master's degree in ecology, Christine Jean knew that the variations in the Loire's water level contributed to the great fertility of the valley and to an ecological wealth rarely found in Europe today. As she traveled over and over up and down the length of the river, Christine Jean learned that the people living by the upper Loire would rather face the occasional flood than have dams fill the river's gorges, drown farms, submerge an entire village, and destroy the wildlife so much a part of their everyday environment. They instinctively understood what Christine Jean, the conservationist, knew, that natural flooding was essential to the life of the river and its valley. In 1986, Christine Jean organized a number of local environmental groups into a national coalition, SOS Loire Vivante, the Living Loire Committee, supported by the World Wildlife Fund. She lobbied officials, countered the arguments of engineers, and camped with protesters at one of the proposed dam sites. Moreover, Madame Loire, as she became known, was able to rally the French public. Never easy with the French. But did they want the upper Loire to become like the lower? Salmon once spawned at the foot of these chateaux. Where wildlife was once abundant, there are now 4 nuclear power stations, known as the chateaux of tomorrow. Finally, did the French want the Loire to end up like the Rhine, the Danube, and the Rhone? The campaign became the most popular environmental cause in France in over 20 years, and an important one that gained support throughout Europe. At last, in July 1991, the French government responded. Plans for 2 of the dams were canceled. However, it's like all environmental battles. They never really end. Other dams on the tributaries of the upper Loire are still being considered. EPALA has not quit, but neither has Christine Jean.
The River Loire is quite extraordinary, and I'm still fighting.
For outstanding environmental achievement in Europe, a 1992 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Madame Loire, Christine Jean of Nantes, France.